This is the Shoot at the Hip podcast, and on this edition, we're going to be talking about The Undertaker. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Deadman, the Grim Reaper, the legend of WWE. Now, if you were one of the few that did not fall asleep during Monday Night Raw, you would have saw that John Cena stood in the middle of the ring and he called out The Undertaker. John Cena called out The Undertaker and he wants to have a match with him at Wrestlemania down in my hometown of New Orleans. Now, we all know about last year. The Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns and he stood in the middle of the ring after the match. He took his jacket off, took his hat off, took his gloves off and left them in the middle of the ring. He got out the ring. He kissed his beautiful wife, Michelle McCool, and he walked to the top of the ramp and he slowly went down into the smoke. And that is the last time we saw The Undertaker. What a scene. I mean, a lot of people were very teary-eyed. People were thinking about Survivor Series 1990 when The Undertaker came in and just seeing him just leave like that. The only thing I can think of that will equate to that moment, and y'all might think I'm corny as hell for this, but it was on Toy Story 3. I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but when Andy left Woody and Buzz with the young girl and he got into his car and he looked behind and he seen all his toys on the porch and he said, "Goodbye, guys." And he drove off to college. That is one of the only moments I can say that kind of equals to The Undertaker leaving. But fast forward, John Cena calls him out. And the question on everyone's mind is, how will The Undertaker return? Because a lot of people saying, yeah, he is going to return. There's no way that Vince McMahon would allow John Cena to cut a promo and The Undertaker is not going to compete at WrestleMania. So how is he going to return? Well, this is just my theory. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that I'm wrong, but this is my theory. I feel like The Undertaker is going to come back as the American Badass. And before everybody starts to jump down my throat and roll their eyes and like, oh God, why is he going to come back as the American Badass? Well, let me tell you why this makes sense. If you would have paid attention to the promo that John Cena cut, he was talking about how the only person that's stopping The Undertaker from competing is The Undertaker. And he talked about how he is taking pictures on Twitter, on his wife's Twitter page, Michelle McCool. That kind of made me wonder, like, why would John Cena talk about The Undertaker having a life outside of the ring? And it just made me think, like, he is trying to humanize The Undertaker, because we all know The Undertaker lives and breathes his gimmick. Undertaker doesn't have a Twitter page, even though a lot of people speculate that there's a page that has over 200,000 followers. It belongs to The Undertaker because it has like very intimate pictures. It shows him outside of the ring, but it doesn't have the blue check mark to officially say that it is Mark Calloway. We don't see The Undertaker out in the street. We don't see him on television. And when we do, he's playing his character. We seen him on Jimmy Fallon. He came as his character. He was at a basketball game. He came out as his character. He lives and breathes his character. So for John Cena to acknowledge the fact that The Undertaker is married, it humanizes him. So that just made me think that he will come back as the American Badass. Let me tell you why I really feel like this is a good idea. We all understand that The Undertaker career is almost in the books. This is probably going to be his last WrestleMania. So him being The Undertaker, the Deadman, he's not going to talk. He's not going to really speak as in a human-like form. He's going to be the Deadman anywhere and everywhere that he goes. I mean, he is so dedicated to his gimmick to a point where when Paul Bearer was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame and he did his symbolic knee with his arm stretched out as he always does in memory of Paul Bearer. But wouldn't it have been great to see The Undertaker step to the mic and talk about some of the times that he had with Paul Bearer? I mean, Paul Bearer was his manager for almost 10 years. And wouldn't it be nice to see The Undertaker talk about how much Paul Bearer meant to him? And this is the only way that you are going to see something like that from The Undertaker if he returns to being the American Badass. Because when he was the American Badass, he was doing interviews. He was talking a little bit more. And we seen The Undertaker out and about. So by him becoming the American Badass, we understand that this is his last WrestleMania. So next year, he's probably going to be the headliner for the Hall of Fame. By him being the headliner for the Hall of Fame, he's going to have to give a speech. He's not going to give a speech as the Deadman, but if the last vision that we've seen is him being Biker Undertaker, it's his human form, and it would be more understandable. So that is why I feel like he should be the American Badass. And then another reason why I feel like he's going to be the American Badass when he returns is because of Kid Rock. Now, we know Kid Rock is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. He's part of the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame this year. And The Undertaker's American Badass gimmick, the theme song, was created by Kid Rock. And I don't think people paying attention to that. Kid Rock created the American Badass theme for when The Undertaker changed from the Deadman to the Biker Taker. The song he came out to was created by Kid Rock. So I feel like that is why it makes more sense for The Undertaker to come back as the American Badass and leave the Deadman gimmick alone, because we would understand that more. Because to me, if The Undertaker was to come back as the Deadman, it would make me feel like Green Bay Packer fans felt with Brett Favre. Like when Brett Favre said that he was going to retire and you seen the tears in his eyes, you were thinking back, oh man, look at all the great moments Brett Favre gave me, man. Him just running down the field like a little kid. And I mean, you start to think about all the times and you start to appreciate that person. But how did it make you feel to know that Brett Favre did not retire and he was going to the Minnesota Vikings? You're like, oh man, whatever. And then of course he retired again. And then he, I mean, we all know the little spiel. It didn't mean as much when Brett Favre finally retired. So we don't want that same thing for The Undertaker. We want when The Undertaker leave, we enjoy it. So he doesn't need to come back as the dead man. Because if he was to come back as the dead man, if he was to leave the ring, it wouldn't mean as much. By him going down into the smoke the way that he did, it made us all think, man, I'm really going to miss The Undertaker. But if he was to come back at WrestleMania down in New Orleans to face John Cena, and he comes back with the black on, walking all slow to the ring, have the druids, it's not going to mean as much when he does retire. Because, I mean, honestly, we're probably not going to believe him. So he needs to come back as the American Badass. That way, next year, when he becomes the headliner of the Hall of Fame, he'll be able to talk. You know what I mean? Because he definitely is not going to talk if he is the dead man. But I am looking forward to the match between him and John Cena. I think it's going to be a good match. I think that John Cena has enough skins on the wall. If The Undertaker is not at 100%, John Cena can lead the match and make it pretty good. I mean, we got to give John Cena credit. I know a lot of people don't like John Cena, but at the end of the day, I think we all can respect him, his in-ring performance. And I think that he has enough to carry The Undertaker to a quality match. So if this is the last time we see The Undertaker at WrestleMania, it really would look good if we see him come out as the American Badass. So next year he can headline the Hall of Fame. And this has been the Shoot at the Hip podcast. I'm just reminding each and every one of you to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also comment down below. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. Also, follow me on Twitter at TJJones8. That's TJAY Jones 8. Till next time, I'll see you down the road.